hoping I could give you this.
Why are you carrying around liquid morphine?
Oh, there's lots of hubbub flying around now that Sarah girl's back.
I'm sorry, what?
I understand you yourself had a bit of an adventure.
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. You'll have to excuse me. I need to go speak with my deputy.
You won't find him in there. I just saw him heading towards that medical building. Can you imagine showing up in a place like this to find out that your fiancé is here?
What did you say?
Well, Christy and Marielle, they're engaged.
Hello family, my name is Igor and welcome to Geek Academy channel. We are continuing to analyze from season 2 episode 5 today. Way better than the previous one. I enjoyed it way more and I also found way more, so I'm very excited to share it with you. As you can see, I'm trying to post every day right now. This is not gonna happen all the time. I'm stretching myself as much as I can, but we are getting closer to September 22nd and soon I hope we're gonna get another trailer or at least a big teaser, and I wanna have my hands free when this happens. So 6 more episodes left, but before we begin, as usual, I wanna thank everyone who supports me on Patreon. Your support, your donation, this is what gives me the most motivation to make those videos. Not only because of the money, which is obviously nice, but because of your trust. You putting your donations and your trust in me fires me up and I want to make the best job that I can. So let's dive in. So the episode begins with Randall dealing with the monsters. He's stuck in the bus because of his own decisions and actions, and once again we can see how precise and how accurate the monsters are when they are talking to someone who's inside. We've seen this with Megan, you know, pretending to be a grandma. We've seen this with Julie, like, don't you recognize me, and everything. Also with the Virgin Mario there when she told him exactly what he wanted to hear. And now we have seen a couple of seconds ago how Randall was really not comfortable in this bus, trying to find, you know, like this place or space for himself to fall asleep. And the first thing that the monster grandma tells him is, "Are you comfortable in there?" "Yeah, I'm not really comfortable here, thank you for asking. Would you like to come in please and make me feel more comfortable?" Yeah, but Randall stops himself, and then we can see one of the monsters is cosplaying Dracula. Okay, this is probably what started the whole Halloween costume theory. Okay, I'm not really a big fan of it, and I told you many times why. Like, I enjoy the theory, I just don't think it's true. But this guy is kind of a magician or something like this. He was probably doing some sort of the show. He's obviously not having an office job or something like this here. Yeah, I don't know what this costume is supposed to be, but the mustache, the butterfly here, the whole jacket, it kind of gives me a vibe of a, you know, like a carnival magician. So yeah, maybe the disaster, the event that basically made all those people to become monsters happened when there was a Halloween, but I'm pretty sure not everyone here is wearing a Halloween costume. At least all the evidence so far suggests so. But we can see that there is like lunch lady that we have seen in the trailer. Anyway, moving forward, we can see the nurse. Once again, there's like the similarities between what happens right now in Fromville. We have the nurse, Christy, we have 2 nurses as monsters, we have 2 monsters in Fromville, we have the lunch lady here, we also like Mrs. Liu, Tian Chan here, also sort of a lunch lady here for the Fromville. But what is more interesting here is that as soon as Randall tells them to go fuck themselves, he's not gonna be afraid, even though he is, but he faces his fear. They're turning around and they're leaving. Okay, if you can look at the mechanic guy, he is kinda angry. He's like, yeah, you ruined the game. The game is you're supposed to be afraid. So this is a theme that's gonna go through all of this episode, with Ethan facing Sarah and talking about Crominocle, all and all and all and all. But maybe there is some kind of a formula here. We have one already that we kind of figure it out. So this place is basically gives you hope, finds people that have a lot of hope, that you want to start a new life, like Bacta, like Jade, like Matthews, like Boyd. Everybody comes with a lot of hope, and then you start breaking them. Okay, and as soon as you start breaking them, you extract as much pain as possible from them. You give them more hope, you make them feel like they're doing something right, and then you break them again until they reach like their no return point, and then they die. But here, maybe there is another formula. If you're not afraid, I would even say if you don't exhibit fear, like you're always afraid. And I'm pretty sure that Randall is still afraid here, you know, like the monsters are pretty creepy. But if you don't exhibit it and you face your fear and you like fight it, then the monsters don't really have anything to do with you. It doesn't mean that you're immune, I don't think so. But maybe they are losing interest in you. They don't want to play with you anymore. Like when they leave also, we can see they are throwing some smiles like creepy slimes. You know, you didn't beat us, haha, we're still smiling. This nurse here, she's like touching this thingy, whatever it is for the nurses. This is something that you check the heart with. I don't know exactly what it is. Maybe this is something like Smiley was doing when he was touching everything. Don't know how to translate it. Maybe one of the extras, one of the beats here was just trying to add something here to the scene. I don't know how to interpret it. Maybe you have some ideas. And we move forward, we can see that Christopher is smiling. After that, we're gonna have this conversation between Victor and Jade, and Victor is gonna tell him at some point Christopher stopped smiling. He used to be like this funny guy, he made everyone laugh, even though in this place it's kind of difficult. Here we can see him still smiling, even though it's kind of creepy because he shows the symbol with the blood and everything. So I don't know if it's some kind of an important detail, it's just something that I noticed, so we move forward. And we can see she again. I'm gonna be angry at someone. I'm gonna like interview one day, hopefully when I'm gonna reach 100,000 subscribers in a couple of decades. I'm gonna take one of the writers and I'm gonna ask him, is Knuckle a he or a she? Would you make up your mind already? She was a she in season 1, then in the beginning of season 2 it was a he for some reason, and now when she's afraid to go inside of the cave, she's suddenly a she again. Why is she switching her gender like she's a zoomer from California? I need to understand this. Anyway, we're moving forward, we have like small detail here, you know, like Christy talking to Marielle. Their bad book is basically medical student textbook, okay, geek much. We approve, you know, in this channel, but you know, like my book next to my bed is basically The Hobbit. So yeah, I read way more serious literature than you are. So once again we have this brand, and I immediately thought that's a fake one, but it's not actually. If you Google it, it's like big company in Canada where they are filming this show. So maybe this time it's actually a sponsorship. Maybe they were like, yeah, we're giving you a lot of money, so please put our t-shirt here in the show. I don't know, maybe it's somehow related to the lore of this TV show, but I fail to see how. Just a small detail that once again we are talking about here. And also something that I noticed, like if you're gonna see at the Matthews house before it collapsed, and if you're gonna see the Tien Chen house and another house from Sarah and Nathan here, they all pretty much built the same wall, the same stairs, and probably this is something not very uncommon. You know, like in those kind of towns, small towns, probably there's one constructor and he builds everything pretty much the same, but it makes me think that everything here was built with one blueprint. So maybe everything here was built with the same purpose, with one purpose. Once again, it's probably some influence from Lost and Dharma, but I still have this feeling like this town was somehow maybe a science town and they were researching here something and they just copy pasted the same house a couple of times, because this is not a place you live in and you like tell the constructor, so maybe my kitchen is gonna be different, maybe my house structure is gonna be a little bit different. Everything here is pretty much the same. Just once again some idea to throw out there in the air. And we can see, you know, like Jade being a geek here. We talked about it in the previous episode. Like, what is being geek? It's being obsessed about something. You can obsess about football, you can obsess about TV show, you can obsess about a person, and we can see here Jade being a geek about this symbol. And I still don't understand why he needs to portray this symbol in different various manifestations, let's call it that way. He needs to use the bottles. In season 3 he gonna use some kind of papers and ropes. You can draw the same symbol just like Christopher did many times if you're still obsessed with it. But Jay tries to understand here different perspectives of this symbol, and I think it's smart because he's gonna see like the roots also from the bottom. Like what he tried to do here, he tried to make it, you know, like 3D. He wanted to see it from different perspectives, but he doesn't have an option to see it from the bottom up. When he looks up, This is something he's gonna see only in the end of season 2, and this is why he tried to replicate it already in the trailer for season 3. He wants to be laying on the ground in order to understand this symbol correctly. So yeah, once again, we're talking about this formula, and since Ethan is saying it already, I should probably put it on stone. As I told you many times, when Ethan talks, we should listen. The mind of a kid, this is something that's probably holds most of the keys to this place. We have Victor here, we have Ethan, and he's saying basically we have to face the scary things. This is how you take their power away, and we have seen Randall doing it. We're gonna see it even a couple of more times in this season. And yeah, once again, Ethan is a man of his word. He's talking to Sarah. He's basically saying to her like, I'm not afraid of you anymore, even though he is, but he needs to face this fear, and I can only imagine how proud Jim was in this moment. Here we can see that Victor is telling Jade that the trees, they are changing because the winter is coming. It would be funny if he would like turn to Jade right now and be like, the winter is coming, McQueen! And then they come to the car graveyard. We can see in the distance there's like small tiny blue minibus, and when we zoom in on it, it kind of looks like the same image, the same drawing we have seen in Victor's room. Not exactly the same, obviously not the same, but looks similar enough for me to notice. So yeah, maybe this is something once again from Victor's cycle. And he's actually gonna say that he didn't want to look at the cars anymore, so he drove them here. He was like 11 when the massacre happened. How did he do it? Okay, there are some kids that know how to drive even when they're 11, like their father, their mother, whatever taught them to do so, but still most of the time they need some kind of help because they're short, they don't reach the pedals. So yeah, either it's a writer's mistake or there is something fishy here, or maybe Victor remembers what didn't happen, and we've seen already that his memory is not 100%. And he's also saying, so he put them where he couldn't see them, but there is more past the rocks, but those were already here. So they were here before Victor arrived to this place, so they are from the previous cycle. Somebody check those cars, please. They're supposed to be from the 40s or the 30s of the previous century, at least as our clues and evidence suggest so. Show them to us, please, because if so, yeah, we are correct about the cycles. And every time period there is some people that are getting inside the house, and then the cycle's supposed to end somehow. So just some information, we're gonna notice that this is Victor's mom's car. We're just gonna remember it for the future episodes, because this is important. And this is Christopher's car. Okay, two different cars. Once again, if we're talking about the beginning of the first season, two cars meeting, crashing each other. One car, Jade's, the second one was the house on wheels of the Matthews family. Maybe the car of Christopher and the car of Victor's mom also clashed in the previous cycle. I don't know, but anyway, please remember those cars. Actually, don't worry, you don't have to remember, because when we're gonna reach those moments when it's gonna be important, I'm just gonna remind you. Don't worry about it. So yeah, we're gonna see that Victor have this safe space, you know, like when he's afraid and he wants to feel some nostalgia. He's obviously missing his mother, to lose his mother when he was a kid, and to stay in a place like that without any kind of healing, any kind of psychological treatment. Anyone who is close to him but the boy in white, who is not probably even a human. So yeah, he wants to feel those emotions again. And he said that he used to play the same song, the Tinkle Tinkle Little Star, on the violin when he was afraid, and he was sitting just like that and feel not afraid anymore. So we can see that the formula here is a bit different. He doesn't face his fears. He has somebody to help him to actually forget about those fears. Even though it's kind of weird that he was sitting on top of the car. Anyway, I still don't have a kid, so maybe kids do like it and do like to sit on top of a car. Another interesting thing here is that Victor is feeling pain. You can obviously see him that he's experiencing pain. You can explain it logically that it's obviously missing his mom, we already said it, and of course he feels like the loss of it. But I was hoping that it's gonna give him some kind of like feeling of nostalgia, or you know, like feeling closer to his mom. By the way, the actor who portrays Victor is amazing, top-notch, 5 stars, whatever you want to call it, like a Google review, best 5 stars you can give. Actor is amazing. Every time he portrays some kind of emotions, the way he made Victor to be so realistic, and I have so much empathy for this character. This is all to the actor who does this incredible, absolutely incredible job. So when we move forward, we can see that no parents again. Elgin is telling the story to Sarah, and he's saying that every Sunday he is visiting his grandma and they experience everything together. So either he's not mentioning his parents, and there you go, all the theories about Fatima and Alice being his parents, or his parents also died, just like Jade, and we have already some kind of similarity. Jade lost his parents, Elgin lost his parents, we know Boyd lost his father at least, so something here, I don't know, just something to notice. And we can see, finally, I was able to read those small notes in the diner. You have no idea how much time I spent on it, zooming and trying to understand what's written there. And the funny thing, it's just once again those notes, just like in every house, you know, like check the talismans, check the blindfolds, the door is closed. Basically just some notes for you to remember not to get killed in the night. So when we move forward, once again I just want to say a couple of words about Kenny. I know this is not something like you didn't notice or small detail, but I know a lot of people give Kenny a hard time for being a dick, and you kind of have to feel sorry here for Sarah. Kenny is basically destroying the only thing that was close to her, the only thing that reminded her of her brother, of them being young and, you know, like experiencing Christmas together. So very warm memory. Yeah, obviously you feel sorry for her, but once again, if it was me and she would kill someone close to me, I probably would be way worse in this situation. I would probably not just break something, I'd probably break this person's whole body, at least. I know this is something you usually don't say on YouTube, but you know, like, this is not, she didn't kill his favorite pet, and even for that she would deserve to be at least knocked out from her legs and be hospitalized for a couple of months. She killed his father and many more, but also his father, like, and people are still don't understand why Kenny is acting like a dick here. He's not. He's actually acting pretty decent. He's just breaking something that was close to her. That's all. And another thing that is gonna come back in the next episodes, we're gonna see that in Christie's room, once again 11 and 10. And when we checked it in the previous episodes, it was also 11 and 10. So Igor, your theory about time moving here, about clocks moving, even though the second hand is not moving, it kinda goes out of the window. Maybe, but just keep it in mind, because as I told you in the next reviews, in the next analysis, this is something that's gonna come back, and it makes it even more interesting. So yeah, when we move forward, we can see once again that you know, we know that Marielle is a junkie. She's using drugs.
I was hoping I could give you this.
Why are you carrying around liquid morphine?
And we can see that Tilly here is bringing liquid morphine. Yeah, of course, once again, there is a logical explanation for that. Like, you take this please, because at some point I'm probably not gonna be able to use it and I'm gonna need a nurse's help. So here you go, take it please. Or, since we're suspecting Tilly, maybe she's bringing it just for the sake of Marielle having this temptation, just for her to be as broken as possible, because once again she's telling about her diagnosis. She understood it about a month ago, and she's also throwing another hot potato there. She's like, now that the Sarah girls is back. So you can see her, she's basically appearing at some moments she's talking to Boyd and she's like, yeah, I've seen this Kenny guy, he's going to the medical. And now she's like, yeah, that's Sarah girl, she is basically back. Yeah, you know, Jim, Christy have her fiance here, like her fiance right here somehow. She is almost serving as some sort of a trigger for events to happen.
Oh, there's lots of hubbub flying around now that Sarah girl's back.
I'm sorry, what?
I understand you yourself had a bit of an adventure.
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. You'll have to excuse me. I need to go speak with my deputy.
You won't find him in there. I just saw him heading towards that medical building. Can you imagine showing up in a place like this to find out that your fiance is here?
What did you say?
Well, Christy and Marielle, they're engaged.
So once again, the suspicion towards Tilly is rising up. There are some moments that makes me feel like, yeah, I'm completely off here, but there are a lot of other moments when you're like, yeah, this is something wrong here with her. She's obviously hiding something. And let's move forward. We talk about Christopher, like Victor's telling Jade that his name was Christopher, and he seemed nice at first, and he made people laugh, blah blah blah, just like Jade, even though Jade is making us laugh, he's not making laugh anybody else in the town. Most of the people think he's a douche, and it was an easy thing back then, so it means when they were like filming and like took this photograph of Christopher, this town was already under attack by monsters. This is not just something that happened, for example, in the same night when everybody was killed, suddenly everybody turned to monster or something like this. Yeah, monsters were there already, or there was something else, but I think it was monsters. And he said that he changed, and I'm afraid of it so much, because if this is the destiny for Jade, I really don't want it to happen, because he's like one of the best characters. His humor, him being like a douche, it basically sometimes makes me laugh so much in this TV show, and it's needed in From, okay? With all of the horror, with all of the death and murder, and like the whole of the terrifying moments, having somebody like Jade is very, very beneficial for this TV show. I don't want to see him being changed and starting to be like, like aloof and dangerous and just creepy, basically. So you shouldn't be asking those questions. These moments, you kind of have to rewatch it, because at this moment, Victor feels like he's protecting Jade here and not himself. Like last times when he was answering, he was protecting himself. Like all of the previous times when he was answering like that, you shouldn't ask me like this, you shouldn't talk about this. It felt like he has the psychological block and he wanted to protect it. He didn't want to break it. Here it kind of feels like, Jade, you have to stop asking those questions because they're gonna hurt you. Once again, this is just my feeling, tell me what you think about it. And he's coming to his safe space, he's like holding the roof of his mother's car, just once again a very nice moment. And he's talking about everyone died. Probably he's talking about the same night and morning that we have seen already in season 1. This is the only thing that comes to my mind. This is where everybody died. And Christopher started seeing that symbol. So we're not even close to that. So maybe the whole Colonial House massacre was something that's supposed to replicate what happened with Victor when he was young, but it didn't work out, or it's supposed to happen somewhere later. I don't know yet. Once again, this is something for us to see. And things change, and he didn't make people laugh anymore. And one night my mother told me to hide somewhere new. Sounds a little bit not true, if I may say so, because we have seen them hiding in a cellar. Okay, this is probably wasn't already a new place if they are already living with monsters, so probably hiding in the cellar was not something new. Or they are just like Julie, hid in the faraway tree, and the faraway tree sent them to the cellar, and usually the monsters for some reason are not checking there. Maybe it's some kind of a protected ground or something like this. So once again, either Victor is not telling something, or once again it's his memory, and it's pretty much not 100% when he tells all those stories. So yeah, somewhere different, somewhere Christopher didn't know. This is even weirder, like Christopher didn't know about the cellar? Why? He was living in this town. It's not a big discovery, you just walk around a little bit and you can find this cellar. And also, how is it connected to everybody dying? This is weird. Was Christopher alone who killed all those people? It means he went apeshit on this town, and he probably turned into something super dangerous, something it's almost impossible to escape. Not just like our monsters who are just walking with their stupid fucking smiles and just like, oh, anyone could escape from them, almost anyone. So or Victor or Christopher became someone like a leader, or someone who can control this place or control the monsters, and he attacked everyone, and he was also looking for Victor and his mom and Eloise. Don't know, once again, just something to think about. And then I woke up the next morning, everyone, if you were sleeping that day, I have no idea. And he's also saying about there are a lot of evil things here and they make people do bad things. Kinda feels like he's talking about the same voices that Sarah was hearing in the season 1. And we can see that Tabitha here is basically doing the summon ritual. I don't know how she got to this conclusion. She probably tried something and it worked. The Ankghooey children are arriving. You know, like every time they say Ankghooey, I want to say bless you, dear. And we can see that when they come, they're like only 4 kids. We know there are 7, but for some reason, for Tabitha here, only 4 came. And what is interesting here, just like when I said it's on the previous video, this one also have a scar on her forehead. This one just on the top of her eye. This one doesn't have a scar at all, which is weird because once again, when we zoom in here, a scar exactly at the same place. Also when Jim's scar is, thank you for noticing that in the comments, and also where the monster put the metal rod in Kelly's brain. So once again, a coincidence? Probably not. Probably some sort of a ritual. A part of this ritual is you're gonna cut those poor kids' brain in this exact spot. This is my idea for it. And we can see that they just disappear. So what are they? They are spirits, or they also can travel between those 2 dimensions that we have seen already that exist in this place. Okay, because monsters don't just disappear, they kind of teleport. Maybe this is also how they operate. They just disappear and they reappear on the roof of somebody's house, or they just disappear in the forest and they suddenly appear in the town. Don't know exactly how it works, but maybe those 2 dimensions that we have in this place also allow you to travel faster between one place and another. And we can see here, or hear here, another song, A Candy Colored Clown, they call the Sandman. This is a song by Roy Orbison. If you're gonna listen to this song, there are like some words like in the dream you're mine, in the dream I walk with you, I talk with you, you are mine. It's a little bit creepy if you ask my opinion, especially if you put it in the context of the show, when you know like those worms are probably gonna control Boyd and his dreams. And yeah, he's exactly right now he's starting to see the worms. So we have seen already the music box turn on randomly, so I think once again, because some forces are like they're awake, this is what happens. They are affecting everything around them, and they somehow create this energy that turns on also the magic music boxes here. Just like the music box turned on when Tabitha and Jim needed to hear something from their honeymoon period, probably to help with their relationship. So this is it for you for episode 5. As I told you, it's way more interesting, way more information, and I can't wait already to get to episode 6. I still remember it's being one of my favorites, cinematography wise, story wise, and clue wise. So we're gonna have a lot to talk about. But as usual, I want to give your comments a voice, and I want to share with everyone something interesting that you wrote in the comments for the previous video. So we have a message from Chris McCullough. I don't know if you mentioned this already, but Jim's head is similar to the head scars of the Ankghooey kids. Yes, I mentioned it in this video thanks to you. I kind of noticed it, but your comment is what made me actually talk about it in this video, so thank you so much. In the final episode of season 2, when Boyd takes Sarah to the ruins where he got stuck, Sarah said that she can hear the music box and them, and she started bleeding from her nose. Tabitha also bled from her nose when Jade saved or broke her hallucination of the Ankghooey children in the entrance of the cave in episode 5 or 6. In episode 5, we seen this moment right now. Maybe the Ankghooey children and the voices talking to Sarah have a connection. Maybe, or maybe every time there's like an influence of a force from outside, you know, like this mystical force that controls this place, the people that can listen, just like Fatima called them, you know, like there are some people that can listen and some people that can, sometimes it can be too much for them and they are bleeding from their nose. One of the biggest arguments from Brittany of the House of Blackwood, somebody likes Game of Thrones here, is I've seen in this fandom is whether it's science or magic, but people either forget or didn't watch it, but on Lost they took something scientific that we don't quite understand and made it magical, which is what the light was that Jacob was protecting. It was electromagnetic energy, time travel, speaking to the dead, miraculously healed injuries and illness, psychic anomalies. That's what Dharma was studying. They never explained what it was or how it works. So magic, this is something I actually enjoy in a lot of fantasy books I'm reading. As you can see behind me, there are a lot of them. So when you're reading a fantasy books, there is no magic in the Middle Earth. Okay, there is no magic in Cosmere. This is part of the metaphysics of this world. There are no atheists on, once again, in Middle Earth. Everybody knows there are gods. There is Eru Ilúvatar. There is this force that you can use in order to create fireballs, you know, to fight Balrog or something like this. This magic is just part of the physics of this world. So what is magic? This is something we don't understand. As soon as we understand it, it becomes science. So yeah, they can go either way here and from. They can either explain it as some part of our metaphysics of this world. This is like some kind of a light, some kind of energy, something that created this place. Or they can go to lore and explain it like, you know, this is the spirits of the Beothuk, of whatever, anything like Odin, Scandinavian mythology, religion, whatever you want to explain it, and then it has a way more mystical explanation here. So yeah, I think this is it. Thank you so much for your comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can support it any way you like. You don't have to support it, but if you do, I appreciate it very, very much. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!